Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And y'all, I came in today to talk about y'all's president and the latest shit that he done said. Now I know by now y'all done heard that he said that people who are in the military or buried in military cemeteries and who were captured in war and became prisoners of war are losers and suckers. Y'all know he talked about John McCain, said that John McCain was not a hero because he was captured and he was a prisoner of war, and he liked, I guess, heroes that weren't captured. Y'all, when I tell you that this man is insane and how much I can't stand him, I cannot wait till November comes so I can go vote and do my part in trying to get him out. As I've been watching him over these past few years, it's like everything that he says, the very next thing that he says is worse than the last. Do y'all know that I read today that Michael Cohen, one of those guys that ended up going to jail, it was his attorney, said that at one point that 45 had hired this black actor to play President Obama. And he would bring this actor into his office, into the Oval Office, to yell and scream at him and then fire him. Now, think about what I just said, y'all. His twisted ass has so much hatred and jealousy of Obama. Now, he knows that he can't get in President Obama's face doing all that shit. So he went out and hired a black actor. And whoever this actor is, he need his ass whooped. Because once I realized what I was getting hired for, I would have quit that shit. But this fool sat there and let 45 holler and scream at him and then yell, "You're fired." Y'all, do you know what level of insane you have to be to think that up, hire the person, and then do it? Now, y'all also know that everything that comes out about him, he says it's a lie, or it's fake news, or this, that, and the other. Well, this time, with these military people and all of these different military brass corroborating this story. This is one that, don't get me wrong, he's going to get out of it. It ain't like his base is going to turn against him or any of that, because they follow him like the brain dead zombies that they are. They follow him no matter what he does. But I think this one may have done a little harm to him. And the reason why is because there are so many people who currently have, family members in the military, or who have had family members that served, and who have had family members who have died in war. Y'all, my grandfather, I remember growing up, and my grandfather always telling us the story about him being one of the first black paratroopers and how proud he was to be in this elite colored, because back then we weren't black, we were colored, this elite regiment. And I remember my son was about 14 years old, and he did a book report on my grandfather. And in doing his research for the book report, he had come to me and he said, "Mom, was grandfather in the triple nickels?" Because right about that time, my grandfather actually died when I was about 27. So when my son was 14, my grandfather had been gone quite a number of years. So it wasn't like my son could ask my grandfather. So what I did is I called my grandmother and I said, I explained to her that my son was doing a report on grandfather. So when my son, I guess, did his research on this elite regiment of black paratroopers, he kept coming up with this name, the Triple Nickels. So when I called my grandmother and asked her, I said, was I don't know all the military jargon, y'all, so I might be getting this wrong. So I'm just going to call it a regiment. I don't know. I said, was the regiment that grandfather was in, was it called the Triple Nickels? And so my grandmother said, as a matter of fact, it was. So y'all, if you ever Google the Triple Nickels, it will tell you the story of how they came to be and why they were considered special and all of that. Now, after I read this story, I was always proud of my grandfather, but once I read this story, I was even more proud because I just remember him talking about it all the time and how intelligent you had to be. You couldn't be just the average cookie, as my grandfather would say. You would have to be, especially back then when he was a young man, the cream of the crop to even get into it. And the reason why I bring that up is because later on, I contacted the Triple Nickels. And I guess I wanted to authenticate it myself, hear it from their mouth and all of that my grandfather was actually in it. So I called them. And one of them called me back. Old, distinguished black gentleman. Actually, he called me at work. And I didn't want to say I'm at work and I'm really not supposed to be talking to you. But I ended up just saying, you know what, this is worth it. I want to hear the story. So what he asked me is, did I have a picture of my grandfather in uniform? And I said, yes, we do. And he told me that the reason why he was asking that is that they could tell. He said that the Triple Nickels, there were different waves of them. And that he could tell by grandfather's uniform what wave of the Triple Nickels he was in. But what he assured me is he definitely was in it, because if he was a paratrooper back in whatever 40 whatever, they were the Triple Nickels. But he wanted to let me know which wave the grandfather was in. So my uncle, obliged him and, sent them a picture of, my grandfather in uniform, and we got all the information, and it more strengthened, and made us even more proud of my grandfather's service to this country. Y'all, I have family members that fought in Vietnam, came back, and the only way I can put it is with their brains scrambled like eggs. They went in normal young men, and through the horrors of war and what they witnessed, they came back not the people that they were when they left. And for this 5-time draft dodger who lied and said he had bone spurs to get out of going to Vietnam, for him to now disparage anybody who serves in the military, even those people who serve who've never been in war, the fact that they were willing to sign up with the knowledge that it could mean that if war broke out, that they would go, and that they are willing to give their lives for this country, patriots. And for him to talk about them, he needs his ass whooped. Y'all, we all have said that he is the worst president of our lifetimes. Now, y'all know I'm 55, so when I think back over all the presidents that I've lived through, I despise a couple of them. Reagan being one, and Bush, the young Bush, being the second one. But you notice I said despise. I didn't actually say I hated them. But Trump, I actually literally hate him, y'all. When I think about how he separated those kids at the border from their parents and lost a lot of those kids in the system, and that we're getting stories now that those kids have been raped, mistreated, beaten, starved, and all of this simply because they crossed over into this country illegally. So you are ripped from your family, you know, put into basically an American concentration camp. You're being mistreated, starved, raped, and abused in America in this day and age. This man has caused so much turmoil, so much division, so much confusion. Like my mother says, what he did in 4 years is going to take a long time to clean it up. But I think that when he talked about these folks, military family members, he put a nail in his own coffin for November. Because if there were people that were teetering and they have people that have served in the military or died in war, they're not going to appreciate that. It's going to be hard for them to ignore what he said and the fact that he didn't serve. That for all this big talk he doing now and acting all like a gangster, like he in the mob, his punk ass was too scared to go to war. That's the part that kills me. His punk ass was scared to go, and he also believes that if you are in the military, you must be stupid. One of these generals said that he pointed to another serviceman, a general or something, one of those top brass, and said, he's very intelligent. You know, he's a very smart man. Why would he be in the military? And you know, you got these generals standing there who have served their entire life since they were young men. They made a career out of it. And for him to disparage their bravery, their commitment to this country, and all of that, and to use them as props. He likes to have them standing around him or in back of him as a show of force. He doesn't respect them. He's actually using them as props. Now, we know that they have to follow his orders because he is the commander in chief. But quite a few of them are falling out of the woodworks to speak against him on this particular issue. You know, they do not appreciate what he has said, and they, from what I'm understanding, the average serviceman does not support him. They're saying that they hate him. Y'all, I'm gonna get on out of here. But when I say I can't wait to November to see how this all plays out, because if this man wins another 4 years, y'all, you think we screwed now? I don't know what's going to become of United States, because right now we're the laughing stock of the world because of all the shit that he's destroyed, and that this virus is running rampant, and he's got people believing that it's not real, and almost 190,000 people have died, and over 6 million have been affected with it. But these people still refuse to wear a mask, and they don't believe the shit. Y'all, this is where we are. It is sad. And on behalf of my grandfather is not a loser or a sucker. My grandfather is a hero, because my grandfather served when it was very, very hard for a black man to be in the military. Very, very hard to be intelligent and, be in the military and not somewhere cooking or cleaning up after white soldiers. My grandfather was so intelligent that he became part of an elite group of black soldiers. And now, at this age, I understand why my grandfather told us that story over and over and over again. There's not a child, a grandchild in our family that cannot tell you his story about being one of the first black paratroopers known as the Triple Nickels. Not one of us, because he made sure all of us knew about it. And y'all, if you have a service member, someone who's currently serving, who has served, who has died in war, I thank them for their service, because what we have in the White House now is an aberration, an evil aberration that we need to get out. He is hell-bent on destroying everything and anything that was good about this country. He has destroyed it. And with that, y'all, I'm out. I'll see y'all in the next video. Stay safe. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.